On the 8th of November 2022, Sam Bankman-Fried sent a tweet. It said, and I'm quoting this directly, "FTX is fine. Assets are fine." 24 hours later, FTX was not fine. 48 hours later, the company had filed for bankruptcy. And by the end of that week, over $10 billion of real people's money, savings, retirement funds, life's work, had simply vanished. Gone. Not lost in a bad investment. Not wiped out by a market crash. Just gone. Now here's what makes this story genuinely hard to believe. Just 12 months before this moment, Sam Bankman-Fried was on the cover of Forbes magazine. He was worth $32 billion. He had given millions to charity. American politicians called him a genius. He flew to Washington to advise lawmakers on how to regulate crypto. He was hailed as the future of finance, a 29-year-old kid in shorts and a t-shirt who had somehow built one of the most powerful financial companies on earth. And then, in less than 72 hours, it was all over. This is the story of FTX. One of the fastest, most spectacular financial collapses in history. And unlike most financial disasters, this one wasn't caused by a market crash, bad timing, or bad luck. It was caused by one person making one very deliberate choice, and assuming no one would ever find out. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly what happened, why it happened, and what it means for anyone who has ever trusted someone else with their money. To understand why this collapse shocked the world, you first have to understand who Sam Bankman-Fried was, or more accurately, who the world thought he was. He was born in 1992, grew up in California, and studied physics at MIT. By all accounts, he was brilliant. Not just book-smart, brilliant, strategically brilliant. The kind of person who could look at a complicated system, find the one flaw no one else could see, and quietly exploit it. After graduating, he took a job at a trading firm in New York. He was good at it. Very good. Then in 2017, he discovered cryptocurrency, and he immediately saw something that almost nobody else had noticed. Bitcoin was selling at different prices on different exchanges around the world. If you bought Bitcoin in the US and sold it in Japan on the same day, you could make a guaranteed profit of up to 30% on every single trade. This is called arbitrage, and Sam Bankman-Fried decided to do it on a massive scale. He moved to Hong Kong, started a trading company called Alameda Research, and made tens of millions of dollars in just a few months doing exactly that. Then the arbitrage opportunity closed, but by then, Sam had tasted what it felt like to be rich. So he did what any ambitious 20-something in the crypto world would do. He started his own exchange. In 2019, he launched FTX, a cryptocurrency exchange where traders could buy, sell, and bet on digital currencies. And here's where things start to get interesting, because Sam didn't just build a good product. He built a brand. To understand why this collapse shocked the world, you first have to understand who Sam Bankman-Fried was, or more accurately, who the world thought he was. He was born in 1992, grew up in California, and studied physics at MIT. By all accounts, he was brilliant. Not just book-smart, brilliant, strategically brilliant. The kind of person who could look at a complicated system, find the one flaw no one else could see, and quietly exploit it. After graduating, he took a job at a trading firm in New York. He was good at it. Very good. Then in 2017, he discovered cryptocurrency, and he immediately saw something that almost nobody else had noticed. Bitcoin was selling at different prices on different exchanges around the world. If you bought Bitcoin in the US and sold it in Japan on the same day, you could make a guaranteed profit of up to 30% on every single trade. This is called arbitrage, and Sam Bankman-Fried decided to do it on a massive scale. He moved to Hong Kong, started a trading company called Alameda Research, and made tens of millions of dollars in just a few months doing exactly that. Then the arbitrage opportunity closed, but by then, Sam had tasted what it felt like to be rich. So he did what any ambitious 20-something in the crypto world would do. He started his own exchange. In 2019, he launched FTX, a cryptocurrency exchange where traders could buy, sell, and bet on digital currencies. And here's where things start to get interesting, because Sam didn't just build a good product. He built a brand. He wore the same outfit every day, shorts, a t-shirt, messy hair. He slept on a beanbag at the office. He publicly pledged to give away most of his wealth to charity. He flew to Washington and told lawmakers he just wanted to make crypto safer for everyone. He was the anti-Wall Street billionaire, humble, generous, honest. The world loved him. Investors gave him billions. Celebrities endorsed FTX. Major sports teams put the FTX logo on their jerseys. The Miami Heat Arena was renamed the FTX Arena. Sequoia Capital, one of the most respected investment firms on the planet, described him as, and I quote, a visionary who was going to change finance forever. By 2022, FTX was valued at $32 billion, making it one of the largest crypto exchanges in the world. And Sam Bankman-Fried, still just 29 years old, was worth an estimated $16 billion personally. He had built it all in 3 years. But here's what nobody knew, nobody outside a very small circle, is that the entire thing was built on a secret. A secret so reckless, so illegal, and so simple that when it finally came out, even seasoned financial journalists couldn't quite believe what they were reading. And that secret was about to destroy everything. To understand FTX's secret, you need to understand how a crypto exchange is supposed to work. Think of it like a regular bank. You deposit your money. The bank holds it. When you want it back, you get it back. The bank might invest some of that money and earn interest, but, crucially, they always keep enough on hand to give customers their deposits back if they ask. That's the deal. That's the trust. FTX, on paper, operated the same way. Customers deposited billions of dollars of cryptocurrency. Those funds were supposed to stay in FTX's accounts, safe, waiting, ready to be withdrawn at any time. That's what customers were told. That's not what happened. What actually happened was this: FTX was secretly sending its customers deposits, billions of dollars of money that didn't belong to it, to Alameda Research, Sam's other company. The trading firm he had started back in Hong Kong. And Alameda was using that money to make extremely risky bets on the crypto market. Investing it. Lending it out. Spending it on things that had nothing to do with customers. Sam himself used some of it to buy luxury real estate in the Bahamas, where FTX was headquartered. In other words, FTX was not a safe exchange. It was a piggy bank. And Sam Bankman-Fried was the one quietly smashing it open from the inside. Now, at this point you might be wondering, how does something like this go undetected for years? The answer is terrifyingly simple. Crypto is barely regulated. Unlike a bank, FTX was not required to undergo the kind of rigorous financial audits that would have exposed this immediately. And because Sam Bankman-Fried was seen as the good guy of the crypto world, the one pushing for regulation, the one talking to Congress, nobody looked too hard. People trusted him. And for a long time, it didn't matter. As long as customers kept depositing money and not too many people tried to withdraw at once, the system held. FTX kept receiving new deposits that covered any outflows. Alameda kept trading. The losses were manageable. The game kept going. But every game like this has the same ending. Someone always looks behind the curtain. The spark that started the fire came from a website called CoinDesk. On the 2nd of November 2022, a journalist published an article containing a leaked internal document from Alameda Research, Sam's trading company. And buried inside that document was something deeply alarming. The document showed that the single largest asset on Alameda's balance sheet, the main thing backing Alameda's finances, was not cash, not Bitcoin, not any established currency. It was FTT. FTT was a token that FTX had created. Essentially, it was a digital coin that FTX invented. Its value depended entirely on FTX being healthy and trusted. In other words, Alameda's financial safety net was made of something that only had value if FTX was doing well. It would be like discovering that a bank's emergency savings fund was filled with its own monopoly money. Most ordinary people didn't immediately understand the implications. But one person did. His name is Changpeng Zhao, known in the crypto world simply as CZ. He is the founder of Binance, the world's largest crypto exchange, and at the time, FTX's biggest competitor. CZ's company had invested in FTX years earlier, and had received a large number of FTT tokens as part of that deal. For days after the CoinDesk article, on November 6, CZ made a simple announcement on Twitter. He said Binance would be selling all of its FTT holdings, roughly $500 million worth, due to recent revelations. He didn't accuse Sam of anything. He didn't need to. That one tweet was a hand grenade. Because anyone who understood what it meant, and in the crypto world, a lot of people did, knew exactly what was about to happen. If Binance dumps $500 million of FTT on the market, the price of FTT will collapse. If FTT collapses, Alameda's balance sheet is destroyed. If Alameda's balance sheet is destroyed, and Alameda is secretly holding FTX's customer funds, there's no money left. And ordinary customers started to realize this. Slowly at first. Then all at once. In banking, there's a term called a bank run. It's when too many customers try to withdraw their money at the same time. It's dangerous because no financial institution, not even the most legitimate one, keeps 100% of customer deposits in cash at all times. Even your regular high street bank doesn't do that. So when panic sets in and everyone rushes for the exit at once, the system breaks. What happened to FTX starting November 6 was a bank run at the speed of the internet. Within hours of CZ's tweet, customers began withdrawing funds from FTX. Hundreds of millions of dollars were being pulled out every hour. The FTT price started falling. News spread on social media. More people panicked. More withdrawals. The price fell further. FTX was processing $6 billion in withdrawal requests in a single 24-hour period. And they couldn't cover it. Because the money wasn't there. Sam scrambled. Privately, desperately, he reached out to CZ directly and asked Binance to acquire FTX, essentially to buy the company and use Binance's funds to plug the enormous hole. CZ agreed, tentatively, and on November 8, they announced a deal in principle. For a few hours, the panic paused. Then Binance's team began looking at FTX's internal accounts. What they found was so bad that the next morning, on November 9, CZ posted a single sentence. Due to due diligence and recent news reports, we have decided that we will not pursue the potential acquisition. That was it. No deal. No rescue. The panic resumed, harder than before. FTX halted withdrawals entirely. Customers who still had money on the platform could no longer access it. Millions of ordinary people watched their savings freeze in real time and could do nothing. Sam's $32 billion net worth, calculated just months earlier, was now effectively zero. The company had roughly $900 million in accessible assets against $16 billion in liabilities. On November 11, FTX filed for bankruptcy. Sam Bankman-Fried resigned as CEO and was replaced by John J. Ray III, the same man who had been brought in to clean up Enron after its collapse 2 decades earlier. After reviewing FTX's records, Ray said something extraordinary. He said that in 40 years of working on corporate failures, he had never seen such a complete failure of corporate controls. That is a man who cleaned up Enron telling you that FTX was worse. Now, some financial disasters are tragedies. A bad investment. A market that turned. A risk that didn't pay off. This was not that. What investigators found when they dug into FTX's records was not bad luck. It was deliberate misuse of funds on a staggering scale. FTX customer deposits had been used to fund Alameda's trading losses. Money had been used to purchase luxury penthouses in the Bahamas. Political donations had been made using funds that didn't belong to Sam. Loans had been made to FTX executives personally, including a nearly $300 million loan to Sam himself. The whole thing had not been a business. It had been a personal fund that other people's money happened to be flowing through. For the customers who lost money, the damage was devastating and personal. Some had lost their entire savings. Some had deposited funds just days before the collapse. One FTX user, speaking to a journalist, described selling his house to invest in crypto through FTX. The money was gone. The ripple effect spread across the entire crypto world. Dozens of companies that had lent to FTX or held funds with FTX collapsed in the weeks that followed. The total damage to the broader crypto market is estimated at over $200 billion in value wiped out. As for Sam Bankman-Fried, in the days after the collapse, he gave interviews. Many of them. He went on Twitter, podcast after podcast, interview after interview. He said he hadn't meant for any of this to happen. He said it was a mistake, an accounting error, a misunderstanding. He wrote long threads explaining himself. He did not flee. He stayed in his Bahamas penthouse. Then in December 2022, he was arrested. The U.S. government flew him back to New York. He was charged with wire fraud, securities fraud, money laundering, and campaign finance violations. In October 2023, he went to trial. The jury deliberated for just 4 hours. Guilty on all 7 counts. In March 2024, Sam Bankman-Fried was sentenced to 25 years in federal prison. He is 32 years old. So what do you take from all of this? If you're looking for a neat, simple lesson, there is one. But it's not about crypto. It's about trust. Every single person who lost money in the FTX collapse trusted Sam Bankman-Fried. Not because they were foolish. Not because they were reckless. But because he was good at being trusted. He gave to charity. He wore the humble outfit. He talked about ethics and transparency constantly. He was beloved by investors, celebrities, and politicians alike. The lesson isn't, don't trust anyone. That's not practical and it's not right. The lesson is, trust, but verify. The most dangerous fraudsters in history have not been shadowy criminals in dark rooms. They've been charismatic, well-presented, publicly beloved figures, the kind of person you'd feel embarrassed to question too hard, because everyone else already seems to trust them. Bernie Madoff ran the largest Ponzi scheme in history for decades. Elizabeth Holmes at Theranos convinced the world she had revolutionized medicine. Sam Bankman-Fried convinced the world he was saving it. All three shared one quality that mattered more than brilliance or ambition. They were trusted before they were verified. So the next time someone asks you to hand over your money, whether it's a crypto platform, an investment app, a business partner, or anyone else, ask the uncomfortable questions. Where is the money actually held? Who is checking the books? What happens if I want it back tomorrow? You don't have to be a financial expert to ask those questions. And the people with nothing to hide will always have a good answer. The people with something to hide will call you paranoid. And that distinction, between someone who welcomes scrutiny and someone who deflects it, that might be the most important financial skill you ever develop. This was the story of FTX. One of the fastest collapses in financial history. $32 billion, one man's deliberate choice, and the thousands of real people who paid the price for trusting him. If this video helped you understand what happened, and more importantly, why it matters to you, hit the like button, because it genuinely helps this channel reach more people who deserve to hear these stories. And if you want more videos exactly like this one, real financial stories, explained simply, without the jargon, subscribe to Jackson Invest. New videos every week. I'll see you in the next one.